up your engine. All right, a lot of young guys are looking for a cheap, fun, good-looking sports car. Here's a 99 Pontiac Firebird. Customer just bought it for $2 grand used. Did he get a good deal, a bad deal, or something in between? Well, we're gonna find out. Now, as you can see, it's still a sharp-looking car. Yeah, the one light is burnt out. That needs replacing, but as you go through, it's got a nice sharp color that pops. Not the original paint, because here's how you can always tell. That's not supposed to be painted the same color. I believe this car was originally white and was painted red. It's got the nice T-tops on it, big old back window. Now, yeah, the back of the lid needs to be repainted. That was GM having problems with the clear coat and the paint. That's been repainted anyway. Take a listen to it. That dual exhaust still sounds good, and when you look at the overall shape of the car, it's a great starter car for fixing up because there's no gigantic bashes. There's little rust spots and dings, but it's a pretty solid vehicle. It's not some junker. Now you can see they didn't paint the side view mirrors very well. They faded a ton compared to the doors. This one's the same way. Now, people should always be leery buying a sports car, because a sports car, what do people do? They drive them like maniacs. In the case of this Firebird, as we look under the hood, we'll see that this particular one has a 3800 engine in it. It's a classic rear-wheel drive sports car. The engine drives the rear wheels only. And the 3800 engine is a 6-cylinder, V6 engine. Puts out 200 horsepower. It's fun to drive around in, makes a decent sound. The guys that drive like maniacs and collect them, they all want the big V8, which puts out 305 horsepower, a lot more than 200. But with that 305 horsepower, they do burnouts. They ruin the engine, transmission, the differential in the rear end, often wrap them around trees. The 6s have less power, plus the people that buy them are often looking for a good-looking sports car. They don't care to have 300-something horsepower. They want to drive like a maniac. They just want to drive normal. Now, it does have the check engine light on, and GM's it's called service engine soon. So I hooked up a scanner, and interestingly enough, it says PO307, which is misfire cylinder number 7. But unfortunately, this is a V6 engine. There is no 7-cylinder or 8-cylinder. So there's GM software. They didn't exactly hire the Bill Gates of the year guy to program these things. GM often has software problems, but it still runs pretty good with all that mileage. Let me tell you, if it had the V8 engine, and odds are the tranny, the rear end would be gone. The engine would be burning oil. This doesn't have any of those problems. And listen to how quiet it is. You don't hear any valve ticking. The engine's still in great shape. The engine's actually running so good, the only noise I hear is the fan belt going around. It's a little bit old. It's making a tiny bit of noise every once in a while. You can't even hear the motor running. You can just hear a little bit of the fan belt going around. So, all those mileage, this V6 engine, sure it only has 200 horsepower, but still running strong. Well, I'll get inside, see how she starts up. Starts right up. Now the power window's a little slow. Taking a while to get up, but it went up. GM's lack of quality control shows. The steering wheel's cracked, dash is all cracked up, the headliner's starting to fall down. But hey, that's stuff you can do over. Look at the seats, the cloth's still good. Now the back seats, they're in great shape. Nobody hardly ever uses them. There's no room except for really tiny people there. Now we're just sitting there idling, really. For one of these Firebirds, it's not rattling at all. It's still really smooth. Makes a decent sound while you're traveling along. Brakes still work good. See how it corners. These are decent cornering vehicles too. Still corners pretty good. And I'll see what it's got left of the 200 horsepower it started out with. Not exactly rocketing, but once it gets moving, it's not bad. It is only 200 horsepower, and the tranny still shifts good. Still rides decent. The shocks aren't that worn out. Yeah, you gotta turn the steering wheel a little bit to the left to go straight. Needs a little front end work and alignment. But really, look how smooth it is idling. Doesn't shake at all. You don't expect that from a GM product that's got 211,000 miles on it. So all in all, it's in decent shape. Needs cosmetic work, but the engine's good, the transmission's good, the rear end's good. I don't hear any noisy wheel bearings. For 2,000 bucks, not a bad deal for a sporty car that they can fool around with to their heart's content. Don't put too much money into a cheap sports car. This thing doesn't run bad. Start out with 200 horsepower. I'd say it's probably got about, I don't know, 140 left. But it still runs good. Do the cosmetics you want to do. You can get a lot of aftermarket cheap parts for these things because people always are messing around with Firebirds, Camaros. They got the same bodies and a lot of parts on it. But I would not do what some crazy guys are doing. Oh, they'll take the 6-cylinder engine, throw it out, put in a V8, mess around with all that stuff. Because this one still runs pretty good. And you don't want to put a bunch of money into a car that's basically never going to be worth a whole bunch of money. Because realize with the V6 engine, when you add these and the Camaros and the various vehicles that are pretty much the same vehicle back in 1999, they made over 100,000 of them. And they did that year after year after year. So they're never going to be any kind of collector's items because they made too many of them. Certain editions might be worth something, but with an automatic transmission, a plain Jane 3800, it's never going to be a collector's item. So you don't want to put a bunch of money. You want to keep it as a fun car where you don't throw too much money in it. But if you don't have to, in the case of this, you can get a dash for it, one of those dashes that glues in over the old dash, and they look perfectly fine. You know, you can put a new headliner in, you can sand it all down yourself, and then get one of those Earl Scheib Facto Bake paint jobs when they're on sale Christmas time for like, we'll paint your car for 300 bucks. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can do on a cheap that still makes them look good. You still got a sharp looking sports car. In this case, for $2,000, not a bad deal. Yeah, superficially it's got scratches and stuff that you can fix. The interior can be done over, but it makes a good project car as long as the engine and transmission is good, well, you don't have to throw a bunch of money in it, and as long as you check under the car to make sure that it's not rotten. Look at this frame. Solid as can be. No rust. In this case, it was a no-brainer. The buyer checked it out. This was originally a Harris County, where Houston is. It's a Texas, Harris County car. They don't rust here. There's no rust on this car. So if any of you northern boys are watching this, and you're looking at one of these up north, hey, unless somebody bought it down here in Texas and shipped it up, which happens all the time. A friend of mine comes down to Texas from Chicago 4 times a year, and he will buy 7 or 8 cars. And as long as they're not rusted and they run, he puts them on his car carrier, he takes them to Chicago, and the guy there gives them $6-7 grand a piece because they're Texas cars with no rust. If you're looking at an actual northern one of these, go under there. You start hitting that frame like I did and it's all rusted and crunch, run away. It's worth nothing then. When the frame's gone, car's worth nothing. But this, totally clean car. So if you're looking for a car like this, hey, go to Texas or something. And if you're not a riverboat gambler, you're not going to buy one and drive it home, look at it. You can ship them for 500 bucks anywhere. You want one that isn't rusted though. And they were rust buckets. If you live where they put salt on the road in the winter, or say you live on a Jersey shore, or even on the Texas shore like Corpus Christi. I got a customer there, his 4-year-old Camaro rusted to pieces because he lived right on the ocean and the salt spray got to him. So now you know the truth about this old 99 Firebird. Why, for $2,000, it's a fun little sports car that you can have fun with without breaking the bank. If you want to modify a few things here or there, go right ahead. Just don't get too carried away, because as the saying goes, you put $20,000 into a car that's not a collector's item, you're going to get about 10 cents on the dollar back when you do decide to sell it. And here's some bonus questions and answers. G092 has a very good question. Scotty, I never hear you or anybody talk much about transmission filter changes. If I change the fluid every 50, does the filter ever be changed? Thanks. You know, that's a very good question. Back in the day when I was a young mechanic, yeah, you drop the pan. We used to do it every 30,000 miles. Change the fluid in the filter and put it back together. And they were mainly American cars. A lot of cars don't have real filters in them anymore in the transmissions. You take a lot of the Toyotas. They, for years, have used just the screen. It's like the screen on your window to keep mosquitoes out of your house. They never really got bad. You could take it off, clean it if you wanted, put it back on, but they're just a screen. Nothing really happened to them. You take a lot of the Hondas. They have a filter inside the transmission, but it's built inside the transmission. And you would have to pull the transmission off the vehicle, take it apart, put it in, and put it back together. It takes like 12 hours of labor. Nobody's going to do that. Honda uses more of a motorcycle design transmission. A lot of the older transmissions had a pan and you drained them, and you could work on even the valve bodies. Hondas are different. In order to work on them, you got to take them out of the car and split the cases. They're completely different ones. So a lot of the cars don't even have filters. But if yours has an accessible filter, yes, when you change the fluid, drop the pan, change the filter too, by all means. But a lot of vehicles don't have them anymore. Check for your own, so you'll know. It's just like, I get people all the time saying, Scotty, I need my timing belt changed. And I look at them and say, your car doesn't have a timing belt, it's got a timing chain now. Most cars have timing chains, and they didn't know. So always find out what your car has before somebody tries to rip you off. Don't trust people. Learn what your car has, then learn what needs to be changed. And if it doesn't have a filter, you don't worry about it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.